No effort need to be made. Allow the breath to breathe you. No need to change it. Already breathing you. Am I in my body or am I in somewhere else? Topic. In order for this topic or this subject to be meaningful or manifest in embodied way, so we need to be in our body, ground ourselves, and also I want you to feel the support coming from the base. Great Mother Earth is supporting you. So see if you can allow the body to surrender into that. And also back body, all the masters of the past, wisdom, awakened masters, their tradition, their path, their wisdom as support for us brought you here, right now. See if you can trust that, you can surrender into that as well. And all the friends here, each of you, some kind of spark based on whatever brought you here. See, you can say auspicious connection, causes and connection came together. See if we can have a sense of a community, like-minded fellow traveler on the same journey, a sense of belonging and support each other. We are alone together on this journey. And also sense of this ocean of all sentient beings surrounding you. Somehow you found this little island to sit down in the middle of ocean of suffering. You have this so-called precious human life, which is so meaningful, precious, rare. Somehow you won it. You won in this lifetime. So with great appreciation and also responsibility for having that. And see if you can have a sense of deep connection to all sentient beings. And see if you can set today's motivation or allow the motivation to manifest naturally. Naturally, your heart open to all beings. Their support, right? They brought you here, regardless of appearance, enemy, friend, your favorite one, your unfavorite one, whatever you label, fabricate, they are all a source brought you here. So see if you can cultivate this most sublime mind of bodhicitta to benefit all beings. May today's practice, today's discussion and teaching, may this help. May today's experience benefit all beings. We just had a Thanksgiving. So see if we can cultivate a gratitude for the opportunity you have right now. And also your innate perfection, goodness, that is who you are. A sense of gladness, sense of delight. From that state, today's discussion hopefully will unfold. Yeah. Magic talking to us. So first we're going to do is to imagine, invite magic in front of you. I am not talking, magic is talking. I want you to really imagine, feel the sense of divine, human awakened beings in front of you. Those of you who know how she looks, you can visualize that, the expression of this love and compassion and wisdom. Maybe I'm gonna read this Machiku's Guru Yoga first part. First part has some visualization aid. See if we can imagine. Just rest quietly. Keep your heart open, mind open, clear. This sense of relaxation, as well as a sense of invitation, yawning for receiving teachings. So in front of you is the 3-tier sheet, lotus, sun, and moon. Rainbow light forms a canopy. Inside it is a teacher I trust, especially identical with the mother of the Four Noble Ones, Mother Lapkidoma, white in form. Her silken black hair flows down her back. Her face is peaceful and smiling. Her three eyes look into the sky. Her white silk blouse with long sleeves fluttering in the breeze. Her red silk skirt is bound with a sash at her waist. She sits in the Vajra posture. In her heart is a moon with the syllable Ah above it, surrounding by the mantra. Her right hand holds a golden damaru. Its beat resounds through the universe. From the supreme domain of awakening, the realm of totality, her offspring gather, awakened ones, awakening beings and masters, coming like flower petals, swirling in the wind. All of them are absorbed into Machik's body. Her left hand holds a silver bell. Its ringing fills the 10 directions. The Dakinis of the 24 places gather, coming like snowflakes in a storm. All of them are absorbed into the Great Mother's body. Now I want you to pray. Only Mother Lapkidoma, union of all refugees, I pray to you from the bottom of my heart. Especially I want you to pray. Please teach me the profound essence of mind. So upon your sincere request, she started teaching. Yeah, once discursive thought totally abandoned, Dharmakaya is no other than that. I was not able to check the Tibetan. This is a translation, the Tibetan term. I have a little bit of a reservation about this translation. I'm not sure whether this is accurate or not. But does this make sense when we read this? Because I'm not the English speaker. Once discursive thought are totally abandoned, Dharmakaya is no other than this. What does that mean?
To me, it means that once as thoughts arise, that if I don't cling to them or grasp on them, if I let them go, then what I'm resting in is the spaciousness, is Dharmakaya. It does make sense to me.
What this means? Discursive thought or abandoned discursive?
No, I think to me, it means so Dharmakaya is no other than this. What this is referring to is my direct experience of what my experience is when I totally abandon discursive thoughts. When I totally abandon discursive thoughts, what that experience is for me is no other than Dharmakaya. So this is referring to my own direct experience of totally abandoning discursive thoughts.
Okay, so let's look at the second one. Once the 5 poisons are totally abandoned, the 5 wisdoms are no other than this. What this means?
Again, to me, it's the same thing as awareness of the 5 poisons in my mind stream. If those are abandoned, then what's left is my direct experience of the 5 wisdoms, I guess.
Yeah, that's how I took it too. I also can see how that would feel a little confusing, but that's how I felt into it as well. Once discursive thoughts are totally abandoned, resting in source, resting in Dharmakaya. Dharmakaya is no other than this. But I see it'd be interesting to see another translation. So, because I think I understand what you're sharing too, Kanjala.
Yeah, Dharmakaya is a nature, awakened mind, right? True nature of the discursive thought is Dharmakaya. And here too, 5 poison, right? So true nature of the 5 poison is a 5 wisdom. So five poison, we don't abandon in the sense that we work with this, but the true nature of five poison is five wisdoms. Next one, once the three poisons are totally abandoned, the three karyas are no other than this. So how do you interpret this? Same thing?
But I can see what you're saying too. Maybe it's abandoned. I wonder what another translation of that word is, because like you said, we're not abandoning these natural things that arise and come and go, but we're bringing them on to the path.
What I'm thinking about when I see once the five poisons are totally abandoned, the wisdom no other than this, I think of attachment or non-attachment. Once you release the thought concepts of the five poisons of the concept of anger or even happiness or compassion, it's just you're resting in being. That's what I think of. And then I think if the discursive mind is abandoned, I think of space.
I'm wondering if she's trying to hint at, because the opposites, aren't they? Virtue, non-virtue, gods and demons. It's like a dualistic appearance, and once they transform and are equal, abandoned, their absence is emptiness. And if they're in the same nature as the Dharmakaya, maybe that's a pathway for us to realize or get a taste of the experience of our own mind in the nature of this emptiness.
Yeah, here, once the conventional mind is totally abandoned, Buddhahood is no other than this. How do you interpret this?
The language is a little tricky. When I read into that, once conventional, I think of the sort of conceptual, the discursive mind is what I read into that. But it's an interesting choice of language to use the word conventional,
Also, no other than this. What this means? Abandoning the conventional mind?
I think it's going back again and again to Buddhahood is no other than this, is resting in source, resting in the Dharmakaya, resting in the open, spacious awareness.
Yeah.
That's my sense of what they're pointing to in this.
Mm-hmm. Defining characteristic mind is to be primordial, empty like a space. The realization of the nature of mind include all phenomena without exception. So once samsara is totally abandoned, nirvana is no other than this. Once mental agitation is totally abandoned, skillful means are no other than this. Abandoning the mental agitation, totally abandoning mental agitation, is that the skillful means?
Of all the ones where she is kind of flowing with the same rhythm and message, those two lines were the two that didn't fit exactly with how I was receiving the others myself. So, but yeah, the way I read it is that that's what she is saying, or that's what this translation is saying, that skillful means is no other than abandoning mental agitation.
Mm-hmm. Then once emptiness is totally abandoned, discriminative wisdom is no other than this. Even emptiness need to be abandoned. Idea of emptiness. That is a discriminative wisdom. Once discursive mind is totally abandoned, again, discursive mind is totally abandoned, fearsome places are no other than this. What do you make out of this?
I look at almost a lot of what we're talking about in this section is dissolving the non-dual. So it's almost like samsara and nirvana. What happens when we come, I don't know if I can put it into words exactly, but when we come from a non-dual place, and for me, that's what it's like, that's what this is, that it's when if we dissolve duality and are in non-duality, then that's this. So it's almost like, I've always sort of liked that idea of this, because it isn't really well defined, because if samsara and nirvana dissolve, if mental agitation and skillful means sort of dissolve, and you're in the new non-dual, there is no inner or outer, then is that Dharmakaya? Is that discriminating wisdom? So I don't know if that made sense to anyone but me, but to me, there's that essence of non-duality.
Yeah, that makes sense in general. From that point here, this sentence, once discursive mind is totally abandoned, fearsome places are no other than this. So what's this contrast about discursive mind and the fearsome places? This one, I guess, translation of the do, maybe channel ground, this one. Channel ground is no other than this fearsome. The place that scares us is no other than this.
I think it's sort of almost that same idea that discursive mind is discursive mind. So fearsome places are fearsome places. If we let all of that go, and maybe it all dissolves, and so we're not identifying this is the fearsome place, then it's almost like when, if everything all comes together, I don't know, I can't seem to find the words to describe it, then there is nothing other than this. So discursive thoughts are discursive thoughts. Maybe discursive thoughts are Dharmakaya. They're infused with Dharmakaya. They're, you know, it's what we do with them, maybe. Like once discursive mind is totally abandoned, and isn't that fearsome places? Like, don't we really create the fearsome places in our mind? So if we're not in discursive thought, then can there be a fearsome place? Or if when we're in a fearsome place and we see it as a fearsome place, or not create a story around it and just experience the fearsome place, does it all dissolve? And is that what this is?
Okay. Once virtues and non-virtue are totally abandoned, gods and demons are no other than this. Once the six consciousnesses are totally abandoned, the six classes of beings are no other than this. Once eight consciousnesses, so eight consciousness, six consciousness and plus two, eight consciousnesses are total abandoned, the eight armies or demons are no other than this. Once wandering thoughts are totally abandoned, magical displays are no other than this. Meditative absorption is no other than this. The practice of the 4 daily sessions is no other than this. Once discursive thoughts are totally abandoned, the practice of Chö is no other than this. Once mindfulness is achieved, the level of final accomplishment is no other than this. Once the ultimate nature of mind is realized, the definitive sign of realization is no other than this. Point is the mind essence. All these great masters, awakened beings are pointing us to the one thing. This mind is essence. Sometimes different translation, but the nature of mind or awareness, Dipa. And Khenpo Gansho, we studied during the retreat. He also pointing us to just that, no other than this, not just this one. Abandoning all bodily activities, remain like a bunch of straw cut loose. Abandoning all verbal expressions of speech, remain like a root with its strings cut through. Abandoning all mental activities. This is Mahamudra. So this is a meditation instruction, very famous line. We want to go a little further, then maybe we can meditate on it. In the Dharma tradition of this old lady, there is nothing to do. other than this. Fortunate son and disciple gather here. So we are very fortunate. Those people who made a connection to this kind of profound teaching is very rare, very rare. And so they are called fortunate. This body of ours is impermanent, like a feather on a high mountain path. Death and impermanence, she's reminding us. So she's not abandoning this engagement in the world, relative sense, relative realities. She's pointing us to remember death and impermanence, moment to moment. Like a feather on a high mountain path. Can you relate to this metaphor? In a Tibetan high plateau, high mountains, feathers. So windy, on the top of the mountains. I went to the Mount Kailash, on the very highest peak, like a Dormaha. It's called the Dorma Path. I brought my son's ashes, to do a practice there, and then cast my son's ashes. Still, I'm clinging on to it. But then, so quickly, because of the altitude and the wind, it just kind of went everywhere, disappeared. So that's much the ephemeral nature, temporal nature of our body which cling on to this moment to moment decaying and impermanent, nothing to grasp onto. That's body. This mind of ours is empty and clear, like a depth of space. These two defining characteristics of the nature of mind, empty and clear, luminous, this knowingness. Clear means knowingness. Like a surface of the clear lake, everything reflecting, manifesting. No, that sort of image. It's empty, nothing to grab onto, but then still have this manifestation, radiation or appearance, luminous clarities, like a depth of space. Relax in a natural state, free of fabrication. This is again meditation practice. Relax in a natural state, just as it is. You don't need to fabricate anything. You don't need to make your body relax, or you don't need to make your mind into certain shape or even quiet. I often say that you don't need to make your mind quiet. Just find that quiet, hold the monkey mind. Relax in the natural state, free of any fabrication or any mental construct. When mind is without any support, without any reference point, without any object, no support, mind itself, that is Mahamudra. Then her advice is becoming familiar with this. First to get the taste of it, then familiar with this. That's the definition of meditation. No? Meditation means to be familiar oneself with something virtuous. In this case, mind nature. Blend with mind with it. Maybe blend with means embody that mind. Your mind become one with that realization. Eventually, familiar with it, to make you accustomed to that, then become one. You are totally embodied. There's no subject object. Me here, I realize this, or I understand this, or nothing like that. Completely blended, like a blender making a juice, completely mixed. You cannot separate out. You are embodying that realization. That is the Buddha, awakened one. That is the Buddhahood, the state of being awake. That's what I mean by awakening. That's what Machiku is saying here, I think. Then next one's interesting. You may recite mantras, be diligent in offering tormas, be versed in the entire Tripitaka teaching, Sutra teaching, Buddha's teachings, including the Vinaya and the philosophical schools with their respective tenets. philosophical tenets, theories, philosophies, beliefs, ideas, but it will not make you realize Mahamudra, the nature of mind. This is interesting, no? Although she's not saying don't do these things. She is pointing out the essence. What is the essence of all these things? Essence of recitation of mantra. What's the essence of offering? What's the essence of all the teaching, entire teaching? Or what's the essence of the philosophies? What is it? So she's pointing out. That's exactly what the Kempo Ganshara was saying in his short text. Everything points out to this mind essence. In this case, Mahamudra, the nature of mind. Even he was talking about the essence of creation phase. You know, we practice creation phase. For example, Tara or Vajra Yoginis, or the elaborated visualization or something like that. Lots of things we do, seems like. But the essence is this. So just for those of you who are not in our retreat, we went through the Kempo Ganshara's short text, which is very concise, but pointing out this one. This mind essence is the nature of all sentient beings. The realization of the Buddhas of the 3 times. The essence of the 84,000 Dharma doors. And the heart of the glorious master, the supreme guide. It is the transcendent knowledge of the second set of teaching. So this is the wisdom of emptiness teachings, second turning of the wheel. And the Sugata essence of the last turning of the wheel of the Dharma. So this is also essence of the third turning the wheel of Dharma, or Buddha nature teaching. In other words, this Mahamudra, the nature of mind, the mind essence is the core of whole things. And also he said, while in that state, your body is left to itself without fabrication. Just here it said, relax in the state of natural, free of fabrication. Same thing, free and easy. This is the body of all the victorious one. When you relax like this, your body is the same as the body of Buddha. This is the essence of creation stage. And also he said, speech. Your speech is free of fabrication. This is the body, right? Free of fabrication, without the efforts to track down to the root of sound, but simply resting. The speech of all the victorious ones, speech of the Buddha. It is the essence of all recitations. So mantra recitation, the essence of the recitation is this, and so forth. Attached to your own point of view, you merely obscure the clear light of your mind, protecting vows which are merely conceptual, harms samaya in the ultimate sense. Remember, free of mental fabrications, free of considerations for yourself. So that's her advice. Protecting vows which are merely conceptual. Vows and samayas, so forth we have, but the essence of the samaya is this free of mental fabrications and then resting in the nature of mind. And free of consideration of yourself. It sounds like, for me, it's like a free of self-cherishing, free of self-grasping and free of self-cherishing. Those things. She's encouraging us to remember whatever we do, whatever we practice, the essence of that is this. Like the water in the water, naturally arising, naturally subsiding, without conceptualization, without abiding in extreme view, in the primordial purity of mind, there is no transgression of your samaya. She is going into the nature of samaya. nature of birds, what that means, real core of the Samaya is like this: without abiding in extreme view, without conceptualization, in the primordial purity of mind, there is no transgression of your Samaya. We are primordially perfect and pure beings. So we need to rest in that. That is a vast view. Rest in the view. However, just as Padmasambhava said, my view is as vast as the sky, and my action or my activities are as minute or as precise as the sand of the Ganges. He said that no, more we resting in emptiness or the view, more we pay attention to this karmic cause and effect. But here we're saying that like a free of desire, attachment, and the extreme view. The importance of resting in the view. Like a single light dispelling the darkness, you realize at once the teaching of Sutra, Tantra, and all other scripture. If you realize it, and if you embody it, of course, you realize at once everything what the Buddha taught. Because Buddha was pointing to this. Through all these skillful means, different levels of teaching, different levels of skillful means, tools and method and path. The reason what he taught was to bring all different types of sentient being to this point, pointing to this one. Tantra, Sutra, all scriptures. Then she is saying, if you aspire to this path, you will be free from the infinity of samsara. So infinity, samsara is a cyclic existence. We are kind of cycling around, caused by the habitual patterns of karma and afflictions. So that throws us to the next rebirth. But if we aspire on this path, we can be free from this cyclic existence. Because samsara is not something out there, like a hell and heaven and out there. No, it's here. That's what she's saying here. If you enter this path, you will defeat all mental afflictions without exception. So now she's talking about the benefit of being on this path, Mahamudra path, or Dzogchen path, whatever I call the path of presence, Zen as well, and the chill practice. If you achieve this path, you will attain the highest enlightenment, awakening, complete full awakening. When we say the awakening, there are different levels of awakening as well, and on the path. So Buddha's awakening, enlightenment, is a complete full awakening, embodiment, complete purification of what's in the way, or obscuration, completely purified obscuration. Bodhisattvas on the path who have a realization, some obscuration purified, but not complete, have to move on to complete fully. But in the case of complete highest enlightenment, it's a completely purified obscuration and completely manifested what's possible, these full potentials of being. That's what's mean by Sangye Buddha, definition of the Buddha. Those who don't aim for this are deluded to fool. Those who don't enter this path are in darkness like a blind, and certain to be carried away by the river of samsara's suffering. This suffering is unbearable. Have compassion for these fools. Those who are aspired or on this path continue to be on this path. Suffering is unbearable, and have compassion for those, because we see those people who are trapped by this samsaric way of thinking, habitual patterns. We see their suffering as being based on their confusions. We can start to see. So the more we see, the more compassion arises instead of frustration. That's why view is so important, to cultivate or manifest our own open-heartedness, love, and compassion towards all beings, even those completely deluded beings we see, but then still they have Buddha natures. They have, in essence, this mind essence they hold, jewel they carry, just obscured, so completely obscured by cloud, darkness, they can't see. Because of that, they behave badly. So we have a compassion for that, for those people or beings. If you wish to be free from the suffering of samsara, at all times rely on a qualified Lama, qualified teacher, authentic teachers, and elucidate and realize a spiritual friend, like a knowledgeable and or the walk the talk. Is that how you say? Teacher who embody the teaching. It's not just eloquent teaching, you know. I mean, that's great, but somebody who really practiced and tread this path and went through the difficulty we all are facing as well. So they can point out what the pitfalls are, what the shortcuts are, all those things. On this path, we need the teacher or the guide. But at the same time, that is to really come to meet with our inner teacher, deepest dimension of Guru. In order to discover that, we need a mirror sometimes. Like we need to look at the mirror to see our own face, no? So somebody who can hold up the mirror for us, or this kind of community, small community to share safe environment. We can share our experience, direct experience, and get the feedback, so forth. Pray to the Lamas with respect and devotions. Serve the Lama well and request the oral instructions. To see if we can embody this magic's word and see if you can practice a little bit. This kind of teaching is called Menga. Menga is the oral advice, instructions. It's not about the philosophical teaching about Mahamudra, nothing like that. Just like a teacher telling you, look at this, you know, don't do this, and see this, all these things pointing out. These are very special based on her realizations.